Hey, Ella, you forgot something. Yes, he chose Texas, but I'd just as soon send him back to Tennessee. Had my time with him, but it's clear this isn't meant to be. Thought we had a spark, but it flickered out too soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, country music fans and AI enthusiasts, this is my interview with country artist Ava Bently.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome back to the Dick Buttons interviews an AI country musician who I came across on Facebook, and I just had to talk to Mrs. Ava Bently. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, and I say welcome back because we did this once before, deja vu, and at the very end of the hour-plus interview, the power went out, and so did the interview. Did my best to get it back, and Ava was gracious enough to do a take two on this, so I am blessed to have her back on the show.
Absolutely. And you know what? Maybe the second round is better.
I hope so. Let's go.
Let's do
All right,
it.
so I wanted to bring you back to a memory. Singing "Thank God I'm a Country Boy" at just 2.5 years old. What's the full story behind that?
Yeah. So, my dad introduced me to music. In fact, I just saw him. He came to my concert in Virginia Beach. And I had a little chat with him about it because when I was little, apparently I just had a knack for memorizing lyrics. And it's been with me my whole life. The data bank that I have in my head of lyrics is just, it would astound people. And so I just quickly picked up on a song he was playing. And then every time I heard it, I knew the words, and so I think they played it probably just for fun too, because I was singing and dancing and a happy little kid, and my dad had a big record collection, and I do remember that. No, I don't remember, technically singing this song when I was little because I was too young to really have that memory, but they've been talking about it for years and years, and, so I just had a bit of a knack to memorize lyrics from very early on, and still to this day. I mean, my catalog right now is over 400 songs. I know the words to every single one,
Wow.
that I wrote, and so plus all the songs I've ever heard, that I liked, that maybe even some I didn't like. I don't know,
Hmm.
but I memorize them when I hear them. They just get locked in my head. So it was just something I did when I was little, and my dad, we talked about all the different songs I remember, when I was little, that he would play. There's a lot of Elvis, Blondie, Percy Sledge, and, so on and so forth. And, I remember just falling in love with music from the very beginning.
I mean, that's a cool superpower to have too.
Yeah, it's great. I wish I could do it for other things. It's only music lyrics that I have, this skill for.
Oh, that's interesting. So you look back at those early performances, did your family encourage you at all to pursue that, or was it just, "Oh, look at Ava go"?
I think it was look at Ava go. I was probably a nuisance a lot of times because, it was, "Oh, I've got a hairbrush and it's my microphone and I'm getting dressed up, and my mom's clothes and running around the house singing," or, I know it annoyed my little brother a whole lot. So I think I was more of a somewhat of an annoyance to my brother. My mother tolerated it. I always wanted to put on shows. But, they humored me.
Now, if you could go back in time and sit with that 2.5-year-old girl, what would you possibly say to her about the journey that was about to unfold, in your life? I mean,
Yeah, that's a good one because I don't think, if I had pursued my dreams at 18 years old and ran off to Nashville and tried to pursue music, that I would have made it. I think I had to go through all of the things that I went through in my life to have the stories, to have the emotion and the passion in the music. So, I would still, encourage the little girl to pursue her dreams, but I think our dreams can come in waves. And, for a long time when I had my previous career, I loved doing what I did. It wasn't until music came back into my life that I realized that I had missed, an opportunity, and I think this one is a better, opportunity now than it would have been because of the stories I've been able to gather over the years of my life.
For those probably very small group of people who don't know who Ava Bentley is, can you tell us about that period when something happened that changed your life forever and put you on that trajectory for
Yeah,
music?
yeah. So there were multiple things, of course. The first one was in back in 2017. I'd stepped away from music for a while. I won't go that far back in time, but I had did some damage to my vocal cords. So I sang for fun. I wasn't doing it professionally, but I did sing for fun. And my husband was a musician at the time. We performed, at our wedding. And, I just did some damage to my vocal cords, not singing technically, the right way, and I'd never been professionally trained, so I didn't know, the right way, and I had never sang with a musician really before, until him, and I didn't know how loud instruments were in a small confined space, and so I had a very much a large amount of that time, I was singing probably almost screaming, doing damage to my throat, and I got vocal cord nodules or throat nodules, they'll call them. And a doctor looked at him and said, "Well, we need to get them off." And it was one on each side. So I agreed to the surgery, not really truly appreciating the risk I was taking on such a fragile,
Mhm.
little, I don't know if they're an organ or what they are, but how fragile it was. And she cut into them too deep, went into the SLP layer, as they call it, which is where we have a gel type liquid that if it's ever released, we can never regenerate it, and it's how we reverberate our sounds. Um, and so I didn't know at the time exactly what happened. All I knew is I was struggling to speak again after the procedure, which was only supposed to be about 2 weeks of downtime. But the time kept extending, and I went to see her, and she's like, "Oh, I think we need to operate again." That was a red flag for me, and I felt very concerned, like I had an, intuition that something more concerning was at play here, and went to see another doctor, and she immediately put me in surgery, and said we had to operate on them, because I had one paralyzed vocal cord.
Mm.
And even then, I didn't know the extent of the damage because she didn't have the technology to see the significance of what had happened, but after that procedure, she said, "Oh, you'll probably be talking in about 2 weeks, maximum 3." 2 weeks came and went, no talking, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you know, and she's, like, perplexed, and she's a really good surgeon, and, I knew she didn't know what to do. I could just see the look on her face, like, "I don't know what to do." I don't even know what to tell her, I could
Mhm.
see she just was not sure what to do, and so I went home that day, and I started researching, and I found the story of Julie Andrews, and when I heard her story, I thought, "Oh my gosh, that sounds like what's happening with me." So I found her doctors and I called them up and as best I could tried to explain what was happening to me. Um, and it's not when I say I'm mute, I was mute in the sense I couldn't really like talk. There was no sound like you hear right now. It literally sounded like the devil. I was possessed like the devil. Horrible, horrible sound. Nobody wants that sound. And so I told them what happened, they put me on hold, and they said, "Well, hey, can you get here tomorrow?" I'm like, "Well, I'm actually in Houston, so could we make it the next day?" "Absolutely." I go there, they have the technology to see what happened, and the surgeon, after she scoped everything, she, sat back and she says, "Do you know the story of Julie Andrews?" And I just kinda chuckled and said, "Well, that's how I got here." And,
Mm.
she says, "This is exactly what happened to her. It's what's happened to you." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" She says, "Well, we gotta operate." And she explained everything about losing some of the liquid, and we didn't know how much I had left, and they had a technique for trying to equalize what you did have left, and they were successful, but of course, I had more downtime, and so basically, all in all, as time passed, it was about 6 months that I was, out on medical leave from my job and
Wow.
going through rehab and trying to regain my sound back, but part of that is where I learned that my vocals for singing were permanently damaged, and
That
that
sounds
was devastating, so devastating. I remember crying and thinking, "How could this happen?" But at the same time, feeling relieved at least I don't sing for a living and that we're getting my speaking voice back through rehabilitation, and, I totally walked away from music. I didn't do anything with it again for many years. I was just completely devastated. I wouldn't let anybody hear me sing because it was so awful. And, they wanted to do another surgery, but decided that my speaking voice had gotten strong enough that it's better we just leave well enough alone and,
Yeah.
not push the limits.
Yeah, now, I mean, this has to be a follow-up question. Did you ever get restitution from that original surgeon? I mean, no?
So the same doctor that operated on me, had agreed that she would testify because that's what my attorneys were asking because 'cause I'd already filed the lawsuit, thinking I might never speak again. And, she was told, she could not testify on my behalf,
By who?
by the doctor's office she worked with.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a thing where some doctors don't think it's good to testify against other colleagues because they don't know the circumstances
Right,
in which the medical error
right.
happened. Despite it being something that should not have happened, it is a risk that you take, in any surgery we do. We sign our lives away that something bad could happen. We just don't ever think that it will. And in
Right,
my
yeah.
case, it did. And so I don't know if I could go back. I'm still within the time limits. It happened in 2017. Now that I've come to music versus what I was doing before, but I really don't know that I would have any chance, and I don't know 'cause she has left that clinic, I believe, so maybe she would testify, but I'm not positive that she would.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a good place now, but so how much downtime before you decided to start this AI journey with the music? I mean, was that where you went is that where you
Years.
pivoted directly, or
N
did you try to sing first normally?
no, I sing in the car, from time to time, and when I discovered AI music, which was about 2 years ago, I just did a little birthday song, nothing with my vocals on it, just playing around with it, and I had, like, 6-month gaps in between each song that I did
Mhm.
until we get to the next, thing that happened, which was I had been feeling bad, after COVID, and, I had chased many, many things. You name it under the sun, I was chasing it. I just couldn't feel better, and, decided to take a package and retire from my company and just take a break. And, 2 weeks after that, they accepted that, and they were doing some layoffs, and they were doing packages and things like that. I thought, "Well, this is perfect time for me to get some rest." And, 2 weeks after that, I was, told that I had a very rare heart condition and, was having heart failure as a result of it. And that was show-stopping for me, and I was
Mm,
building up some fluid around my heart prior to this, very major surgery that I needed to have. So I went on emergency medical leave even prior to departing, my company, and during that downtime, I kinda got locked in a bubble because you don't wanna get sick and it was, around September, so, it's the fall's coming in, sick
mhm,
season starting, so I was told I really need to stay in isolation, if I go to the hospital, I need to wear a mask, they need to do blueprinting of my organs to do this procedure, and, so during that downtime, you also can't work when you're on medical leave, so I adhered to that, and I, was goofing off one day, and I was just flipping through my phone, and I saw AI ads again, for music, and I thought, "Oh, yeah, I forgot about that." So I went to play with it a little bit, and I started to feel like anybody would, scared, depressed, unsure if I was gonna live, those things, and I just felt this rush of emotion and lyrics were flooding my head to write songs, and, so that's what I was doing, and I was getting better and better and more proficient at the tools I was playing with, and a friend of mine called me up out of the blue just checking on me, and I said, "Oh, I'm writing some songs. I'm just, bored or whatever." He's like, "Oh, well, let me hear them." I think he was just trying to cheer me up and, make me feel useful. And
mhm.
so I let him hear it, and he was working on some songs, so he sent me, some songs as well. And he called me back. He said, "Oh my gosh, these are so good. Can I put them on the radio?" And I'm like, "Of course." I didn't even know he had a radio station, so that was even a surprise to me, up in upstate New York in a place called Little Falls. And so music gets out there. He's like, "Oh, people are calling, they like it. Um, let's I'll help you, we'll put it out there in the world, because I didn't really know how I had explored it, on Spotify, and it just seemed too complicated, and
Mm.
what was I doing? It was a hobby. But the next thing you know, my music is out there and people are loving it, and I've got 4 charted, songs and a charted album, to date. So, I would have never dreamed that this would happen, but I think if I go back to that 2.5-year-old girl you talked about, what would you tell her? Um I think sometimes life has to happen, not for everybody. You have amazing artists who are young and are very successful. But I think the power of my music now are all the things that happened to me that I think people can connect with. And other stories I may hear and I may write songs about with, close friends or loved ones. And um I hear, some what comes through in those lyrics, because those are stories that were mine. And I remember sometimes thinking, "Oh my god, those are my stories that happened to me," and I might be
Mm.
crying to it. So it was very therapeutic for me, but at the same time, it was also very raw emotion that I was able to craft into those lyrics. And, people say, "Oh, AI, you won't get any emotion or humanity out of it." No, that's not true. If you write it, in a certain way and you produce it in a certain way, you will definitely connect with emotion.
I agree with you 100%. And is that why I mean, you grew up on country music, but I heard Blondie in there too, so you were
Yeah.
listening to other stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
what made country music the perfect genre for you?
So for me, I think storytelling does live in country music, and I've said this many a time. It lives in other genres too, absolutely. But for whatever reason, the connection to me in country music just stuck. And I've played around with other genres, and those have sounded quite good, as well. In fact, my first record was a Fleetwood Mac, record. So, I grew up on all types of music, but I just seem to identify more with country music. I feel like my voice is very tailored towards country music, and I have my vocals on these songs. Now, especially my more modern music, not my very early work, because I didn't know how to do it then, but now I do, and I do think my vocals, although some people told me some songs I've done that are in the pop genre, uh, or the rock genre, they think it fits just fine there too, but I seem to feel like I'm more confident with the country music genre.
You mentioned it's your vocals, and I remember that first time, and I'm ashamed I didn't have a follow-up question, but now I have the opportunity to. So, are you uploading your vocals into Suno?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you only have to really upload it that one time, and then you can just craft it from there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I have multiple templates depending on the type
On
of
the song,
song.
right? Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
but they're all mine, and I went through a pretty stringent process to get very true to life, vocals, and I did it, um, with the Kits AI. I know people use 11 Labs and some others, but I felt like they took me through the most stringent process and be able to go through every range of my vocals, with the vocal exercises they put you through. So I feel like whenever I hear my song produced, I know it's me. Like
Mm.
I hear it so purely. And that makes me happy because, I get on stage and I sing these songs and, I can harmonize with it perfectly, with my vocals.
Yeah, I can't even imagine because I've played with 11 Labs and voice cloning just to see, but it never really truly sounds like me, and that's just
Mm,
talking. I can't imagine getting your singing voice to sound like you. And what
yeah.
was the site that you said you used?
Kits,
Okay.
AI, but you gotta be prepared. You're going through a lot of vocal exercises that they're recording, and they're basically taking you up and down the octaves,
Oh, okay.
so that they can get really some purity from your sound. And, the irony is where I've had the damage and I get this, kind of a raspy sound when I sing. I can't sustain it singing long term, but they were able to capture it, and I frankly feel like it makes my vocals better in some of my songs.
Wow, you
So
get to use the rasp without actually putting stress on your voice. That's pretty cool.
yes. Yeah, exactly. Now of course, I put the stress on it when I sing it, out in my shows, but, it's naturally there, and, where I get into trouble is when they start to seize up or I start to lose, and it starts to, get very rough, and that happens, unfortunately. I had it in my last concert, which
So what do you
is
do? Like, well, I mean, if that happens right there in the moment, what do you do?
I just have to power through it. It's very difficult. I really struggled my last concert, but that was my doing because I did, a rehearsal for 2 hours right before I went on stage, and then I was rehearsing all day, and, the
Uh,
lesson learned for me is I can rehearse, maybe stop midday, drink some tea, and not have a rehearsal right before the show. So I did it to myself, but I was the first time I got to be in the theater with all the visuals behind me. If you remember me telling you I've changed my show
yes, yeah.
format. And so I really needed to run through that, and the only time to do that was literally 2 hours before the show started. That put too much pressure on my vocal cords.
Yeah. Are there other things you could do live to help you throughout the show? Like, I mean, I know you're a singer and you wanna sing, but are there other tricks of the trade that could help you get through that show?
That's what people are saying. I took a 15-minute intermission, but, people are making suggestions that maybe I can't be a solo artist. I'm gonna have to have, someone else on the stage to give me the needed breaks even throughout that show, not just an intermission, because 'cause I'm singing for a whole hour before I get to the intermission.
Right,
And
right.
then it was really hard to make it that last hour, and then I did an encore.
Yeah,
Um, so that's a lot. Now, maybe over time, the vocal cords will get stronger and stronger. I haven't been putting them through all this. This is all new, so I'm gonna have some challenges, with it. I know what I did wrong on this one was the 2 hours before. I could have just lip synced
right.
versus singing. That's a mistake I
Mhm.
made. It would have taken the pressure off the vocal cords, but I naturally sing, so for anybody that's listening, I am not lip syncing when I get up there
Right,
on the stage. I am belting it out, even though I have my backtracks with me, because these are my songs.
right,
And I'm only depending on those vocals because I know that my vocal cords are not stable enough to carry me. And I don't know if that will change over time. And it's a huge risk. And I don't
right.
want the listeners to experience it. I was struggling on that stage, but I was trying to keep it very concealed.
Yeah, and the downside to lip syncing, while it does take care of one, you have to be really good at it too.
Oh,
I mean, I've seen clips of Vince Neil who tries to do it, and the
it's very
microphone's not
hard.
even by his mouth. I mean, yeah, I mean, you gotta do a lot of things perfectly to pull that off. So,
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't even try it, but that's
No,
just me.
it's very hard, but in a practice, I could just for the sake of getting through what the format was, which is what I should have did. But, lesson learned. I'll be more cautious next time.
Yeah, you brought up bringing other people on stage. This happened just last week. Bon Jovi at the Garden, 9 shows he did. 7th show, he couldn't finish the concert.
Mm,
He told the crowd, "Guys, I can't finish. Save your ticket stubs. We'll figure something out." And he had 2 more shows left to do. And
mhm,
what does he do the next night or the next show? He brought out Pat Moynihan. He brought out Bruce Springsteen. He brought out another member of his band to sing a complete let's see, I think Bruce Springsteen sang 2 songs, while Bon Jovi just stood there and danced around. Pat Moynihan did 3 songs, so,
okay.
now I'd be pissed if I spent all that money on Bon Jovi, and
Yeah,
then he's only singing half the show. But I
right,
get it.
yeah.
What are you gonna do? I mean,
Yeah, and I'm so new, I don't think it would hurt to have some more people join my show and increase the fan, mass with doing
right.
something like that, and so I think there's some positives with, looking at doing that, you know?
Yeah, but you have a following, Ava. Don't belittle yourself. I was on your Facebook page. You have quite a following. So I mean,
Yeah, I've got a bigger one on Instagram. In fact, when the, recent magazine article
I
on the
saw that.
cover of Tough Magazine, I grew 20,000 followers in, like, 10 hours.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. We got to make sure we advertise this interview on your Instagram page.
Right, yeah, it's a very good article, if you haven't seen it on Huff Magazine, and you can go to, huffmagazine.com to see the article, or you can go to their Instagram, which is Huff Mags, MAGZ, on Instagram and see the article there too, but they put me on the cover of the magazine, and they showed me singing, which I was really happy that they
Right.
chose
Yeah.
that photograph because, as you know, I get a lot of hate mail from people saying, "Oh, you're not real," or, just because I use AI doesn't mean I'm not real. And I do use AI as my digital twin. I have one of those too because it's easier to go to hair and makeup with your digital twin at 4 and 5 in the morning than it is, you trying to do that. Um, but it is the likeness of me. I've taken my own photographs and I've,
Mhm.
automated them, and I do it pretty frequently, so that I'm always staying fresh with how I may be looking, and I look
Right,
different with model photo makeup artistry versus, me going into the bathroom and doing my own. This was me
right.
on my own, so I don't look
But
like the
this is
model today, but
this oh, stop it. Yes, you do. This is the world we live in today. This is the technology that we're dealing with. And
yeah,
I'm even working on something where there's this guy who has a total AI. Everything it's a him, but and he wanted to do an interview, but he's gonna turn me into AI, and I'm gonna give
see?
the questions. So I can't wait to show that. He showed me the first clip that he generated
Mhm.
today. It is friggin' amazing.
Okay. Wasn't JJ Felix, was it?
No,
Oh,
no.
because he knows how to do that too.
What is anyway, but again, that's where we're at. This is what we're dealing with.
Mhm.
To say it's garbage or slop, that I hate that term AI
Me
slop.
too.
It makes no sense. So how do you deal with that pushback? Because you said you get hate mail and everything. I mean, do you even address it, or you just like you wave
Sometimes.
your hand?
Sometimes I do, and then sometimes I just delete and block them. It depends on how, their attitude is or the kind of comments that they make. Sometimes I'm a smart aleck. I'm not gonna lie
I
if
get that.
they catch me in one of those moods. But I think people are just uninformed, unaware, and they really don't recognize that this is the future, whether they like it or not. And I believe we have an opportunity to really harness this tool and use it to our advantage, not it taking over us. And a lot of people believe it's AI, it's this monster behind the scenes and it's doing all this stuff. No, there are human curators right behind that are plugging in and
Right.
guiding it for, what it needs to do. Does it do some things on its own? Sure, sure, but you can work with it and master it, and that's what we need to be doing, and I do believe, and you and I had this conversation, I personally believe we're gonna be in a future where we all have our digital twin, and that digital twin so in the future, this podcast might be my digital twin and your digital
Mhm.
twin doing the interview, so now the future is now apparently, and but I think this is gonna be everyday life, that your digital twin is gonna be your assistant, and it's gonna be handling all your daily business, and then you're gonna get a briefing, it's gonna brief you on what happened that day, while you're out doing you're multitasking and doing other things, so I think for a period of time, it's going to improve our lives greatly. Now, do
Mm.
I think there's some other nefarious things that can and likely will come with it? Absolutely, I'm not
Oh,
naive there.
of course.
But I
'Cause
think if we
yeah.
do more and try to control it more, we have better control.
I think, people suck, as a whole. I mean, and anytime there's something new, there's gonna be good from it, and there's going to be bad from it, and you're just gonna have to filter it out. Now, I'll take this
Right.
one further. I saw a podcast where this guy who's one of the most foremost, experts on AI, he said in 5 to 10 years, not only digital twins, but AI would integrate with you,
Yeah.
and you could actually live forever. They just have to change the vehicle as your body deteriorates because
Yeah.
the AI would I guess, combine with your presence, I don't know. I mean, it was a little bit over my head, but
I've heard that too. It's very sci-fi. But I do think AI is going to improve our lives and the longevity of our lives significantly, drastically, and within a very short period of time, in front of us. I do think 5 to 10 years. I mean, I think we're it's gonna discover cures for diseases that
yeah,
we have never been able to, to conquer, and that makes me very happy. Like, my mother suffers from multiple sclerosis, and I think, it would be so great if they could stop her suffering and many others. And my daughter has special needs. She's got a very rare chromosomal disorder. She's missing about 250 genes. Maybe they could regrow those
yeah,
genes in the lab and inject them into her and give her some sense of normalcy in her life.
right.
Maybe in just enough time where she could lead a productive life. And I realize that's, very sci-fi and maybe not realistic, but one can hope that we can see good, very good things come with AI. And I have no doubt we're going to see very bad things come with AI as well.
Yeah. And, I don't think it's fantasy either, because if you think back about the people who when all they knew were horse and buggies, do you think they were talking, "Oh, there'll never be a day when there's a vehicle that runs on gas,"
Yeah.
it's just all cyclical, it's just all in a different time.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
didn't think we were gonna have airplanes, they didn't think about that, so it just this is our industrial revolution, I think.
That's right, we're in the 4th Industrial Revolution, which will be the fastest revolution that we've ever witnessed in human history, and we're in it.
Yeah, it's scary, but exciting at the same time.
It
So, what are
is.
some of the biggest challenges, though, in creating the AI country artist, Ava Bentley? Use your real name, but I mean, there has to be some challenges in that.
Yeah, so Ava Bentley is not my real name, it is my stage name. Um,
Nice, okay.
yeah.
Hey, newsflash, Dick Buttons is not my real name.
Oh, I sense that. The biggest challenge is now kind of where I've come in, the progression of Ava is I'm being pulled in a lot of different directions, and in a good way. And lots of very exciting things happening. But I was just reflecting, as I was flying back yesterday from my show, is that, I haven't even had a chance to write a song in a week, which is unusual
Uh-oh,
for me because I write a lot. And so, but I also know that, I've got to shift gears from time to time and focus on concerts. And then I'm also at this next place where I need to be doing more shows. But as a new artist and trying to build that fan base, it's hard to go out there and just sell tickets. And you got to do it well enough in advance that you can, promote
right,
the shows. And even then, there's no guarantee who's gonna come because who knows you? Who knows your music? Um, and so you feel like you're in this chicken and egg thing where the only real way to make money, truly make money, is to get out there and perform shows. So now I'm at this crossroads where how do I do more shows so that I can start monetizing, or do I have to go
right,
back to a regular day job and support Ava like she's a hobby, hoping that I'll get a record deal? I mean, that's really my goal is if I could get a major record deal to keep me here, I could make it to those next levels. But I've really reached that pivotal point where I've invested enough to know I've gotten myself very, very far. But without either an
right,
infusion of an investment or a record deal, I'm going to struggle to get to those next levels because, I read or saw a video somewhere that said you need $2.5 million to make it as an artist. Well, I don't have
yeah,
that. So
no,
I don't know how I'm going to get there. And it's just a struggle as a new artist. And this doesn't matter if you're AI or not. This is
right,
every indie artist's struggle is getting to that next level so you can keep making it. And, I'm even considering now bringing on a band. Go ahead and
mm,
just biting the bullet and getting a band involved, and I don't even know what that's gonna entail.
right,
Or trying to be an opening act for someone else, and shortening my show just to try to build up that fan base and make
right.
a little bit of side money. So there's a lot of challenges that come with this. Make no mistake, if you're a traditional artist or an AI artist, you it takes a lot of work with you personally, but it also takes money.
I think also the problem, the music industry is not the same music industry it was 40, 30 years ago
No.
when, like bands like Kiss or whatever, the record company invested in them. They said,
Yes.
Here's
They don't
money."
do that now.
They
They
don't
wait
do that
till you've
anymore.
done it. They wait till you've gotten really big, know you can't make it any further, and then they come in and swoop you up, and then they own everything. And
Right,
that's what you hear a lot of the big artists say, they don't own their catalog anymore or anything like that. And you know what? Where I am, I don't even care. I just wanna make it. And
right,
I wanna be able to, survive, live and survive, without getting a day job and making this, 100% my day job. And it's not that I don't wanna own all of that, but I know I'm not gonna do this for the next 50 years either. I started
right,
pretty late in the game, but I still want creative control and I want my brand and, I see the brand, you know, expanding out into other types of things, whether it's apparel or if it's, a health and beauty line, food and beverage line. I can see myself having being the businesswoman that I am, opening up, doors for those types of things and then still
Mm,
continuing to do my music and as well as perform.
yeah. Have you thought about festivals and stuff? Because I know, like, I'll go to a beer and wine festival, and they have a stage, and there's that's you can get yourself seen that way unless
Even
you're not
that
in.
way is hard to get into from what I understand. So I'm working
Really?
on all that. I am working on it. I've been looking for, like a stage manager or concert promoter who can help me navigate, some of those things because I don't know what I'm doing. And sometimes you have to get help. I am not, um too too big to believe that I don't need help. I need all the help I can get.
Right, but then you gotta pay that person, right? I mean, so that's right off the top,
But if you're not making it on your own, what's worse? You sit here and struggle and flounder and lose more and more money, or you pay
I
someone to
get it.
help you get to the next level, and that's
Yeah,
what I firmly believe you have to do sometimes.
I get it, and then, it must bother you because 'cause you're being creative and talented as you are. Like, you see some acts that are out there that are very famous, and I don't wanna give names 'cause who am I to but there are acts out there that are very, very, very famous, and sometimes just shake my head and go, "How?
Yeah.
How?" Minimal t not much talent, they don't even can't even hold a note, but yet
Well, and I won't knock them because they got there somehow. Maybe it was
you're
just
right.
hard work and determination, sounding good or not, and people have different tastes. So some people might really love them and think they're fantastic, and some people might like, they're not my cup of
Yeah,
tea. And that's okay
that
because music gives you so much diversity. And that's part of the problem too. There is so much music and so many artists flooding the market even on the AI side. Right, we're seeing the tsunami of that. Now you're also seeing where some of these platforms are taking these songs down,
mm,
as a result of that, which is very scary for an artist who's invested, what I have invested, and I'm working hard on the campaigns, and I am a real person. Yes, I'm using AI to create my music. I have somewhat of a disability, if you will, with both my heart and my vocals, and
right.
I'm real, and I make that very known, but I also make it very known I use AI, and I'm very honest and upfront about it, and so I get very nervous about they're just gonna go trashing us and taking it down because there's a lot of people who are just flooding it with bots. I get it. I get it. Those are the ones that are harming us.
Yeah.
Um, but there are true musicians who are using AI, even traditional ones, so maybe they won't say who they are, but they are, and, AI has its place in music,
Yeah.
and it is creating amazing music, done the right way.
Are you a proponent of the AI music being labeled as such, like a parental advisory label, AI generated label? Are you a
As long as it's fair. So what do I mean by that? There are traditional artists who are self-confessed using AI, and if they aren't marking it, then it's not fair, is it?
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you
So I think
100%.
it needs to be fair. If you're using it even a little bit, say so
And
and
it
mark
won't
it.
be though. You know it won't be fair. I
No,
mean,
I don't
that's,
want. I don't want. And that's what bothers me is that they have the opportunity to do it fairly and not punish us because we are using a new type of tool and building a craft. We are absolutely artists because they don't understand it's not just pushing a button. Can some push a button? Yes. Will they get continuous, consistent output? No.
right.
No. They're gonna start to get the same thing over and over and over again. Why? Because AI is a learning platform. And if they don't know what they're doing, they're not gonna be able to master that. And so I just feel like there are variations of AI that are being
Mhm.
used. Some to 100% not even think, mindless AI song generation, to some with very, very little touch of AI. And I think it's running the full spectrum.
Yeah, and it's funny, if you think back to when Auto-Tune first came out into the world, everyone was like, "Oh, you can't use Auto-Tune," and now everybody uses Auto-Tune. And
Absolutely.
that's
I'm
AI, I'm
using it.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
How come
I'm
that's
using
not
it because 'cause I'm
labeled?
singing. I'm using it because 'cause I'm really singing.
Right. Yeah, it sometimes it gets very frustrating, and I do AI music as a hobby on the side, and I release my stuff on DistroKid too, and I actually got contacted. Some guy sent me a nasty email. He goes, "I was listening to that album you uploaded. "You should have told me up front that it was AI." And I do.
Mhm.
I'm very upfront about it, but he
Yeah.
was mad that he liked it, and then when he found out it was AI, he was angry because it was AI. I mean,
Right, which is why I'm always so honest and upfront. I am the world's first female AI country music artist, and I own that. And I'm not ashamed of it, and I have a reason for doing it, but I don't think you need a reason if you are a
right?
skilled artist and you are able to produce amazing music that people like. But be honest about it, right? And
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna judge people who are not. I mean, it's hurt me that I've been honest too.
Yeah.
And it's just something I'm gonna have to deal with. You know, my own father's like, "I think you need to stop telling people that you use AI," and I looked at him and I straight up and said, "Absolutely not.
Yeah. I
Absolutely not."
mean I'll go back to the Milli Vanilli example. I mean,
Yeah.
look how, like, they lied. Sure, they made money, but it came out eventually.
Mhm.
I mean, they weren't even friggin' singing. I mean, that's how
Yeah, at least I'm singing, at least this is my vocal, and even if I'm singing with my own track, it's my vocals. It is
right,
me. I'm only using that because I have to depend on that like a disability. It's like picking up a cane for somebody who
right,
needs a cane to walk, or somebody needs to be in a wheelchair. That is no different than what I'm doing. If I don't do that, you're not gonna like the sound at
right.
times. Not the
Yeah.
whole time, but the way I struggled at this last concert, they wouldn't have liked it. I was really struggling. It was not good for me, but for them, it was perfectly fine. They didn't know.
Right,
Um,
but you have to be happy too. You have to please yourself.
exactly, which is why I'm telling people I'm singing with my tracks. It's my voice, but I'm singing. I'm not getting up on that stage and lip syncing my songs. And I've saw people lip syncing their songs at I won't say what a music awards, but there were music awards I attended this year that they were not singing, they were lip syncing.
Yeah, I hate award shows just for that reason. I mean, there are some artists who will sing live, and I
Mhm.
applaud them, and then there's others that don't. And if you're gonna lip sync again, back to the effort, they don't even seem to put effort in. It's very annoying. But then again,
Yeah.
a lot of things annoy me.
Mhm.
Um, are you concerned at all, even a little bit, that the technology is gonna get to the point? Because you said it's not just pressing a button, but are you concerned that the technology is going to advance to the point where it is just a touch of a button, and then everybody sounds like amazing?
So, I think that that is possible, but what I think is going to be the thing that's gonna offset that is some people have really true stories, and they're able
Right,
to bring that story and emotion into a song unlike any auto-generated song, and I think people can tell the difference. And
well,
I
yeah,
also think I also think not everybody's gonna go get on stage and perform. I
that's
think I'm
true.
a rarity. I think I'm a very rare individual for doing that, and I think that's always gonna set me apart. Will there be some that do it? I'm not even gonna call it copycat. Maybe they have the ability to do that. Good for them. Bring it on. Good for them. It doesn't bother me because there are so many singers and artists out there, and it depends on who's gonna like you and who's gonna like your music. What I will tell you is I hear a lot of what you're talking about, and I don't know how many artists out there know they're using the same voice across the
Mm,
board, and at some point, it's like, "God, this sounds awful," because you all sound exactly the same. So you put their music out there, and nobody's gonna know who you are.
right,
So that's why now I'm so deliberate and strict when I produce a song, if it even deviates a little bit from my vocals, I kill it.
right.
I
And
will not
there's one
take
genre out there that with AI music especially, outlaw country.
Oh,
There are so many, and they all really sound the same.
they all sound exactly the same.
But
Exactly.
I just that's a big chunk of the country AI music world that just there's so much of it, so much of
Yep,
it.
I follow almost all of them. And, it's shameful because I wanna tell tell them, "Why are you doing that? This is a standard voice on, Suno,
Right,
and it doesn't sound good long term." In fact, anytime I get because mine can do that, with the rasp, and I don't like it because it sounds like screaming to me. And so I typically won't use those versions very often when I get that outlaw country soundish, coming out of it. I just don't like it.
yeah. Is there a country artist that you wanna write a song with? if you had your druthers?
If I had probably Miranda Lambert. I feel like a true story when, I was recovering and I was trying to bring my singing voice back, she has a song called Tin Man, and I, for whatever reason, felt like I could hit the notes on that, and I used that as my vocal rehab, quite a bit, and I really love that song, and, it's probably when I really started to like Miranda Lambert even more, but that
Mhm.
song has a very special sentiment to me because it helped me get through rehab, and, um, it was a song where I felt like I could connect to, not so much about the story, but in a way, but the vocals to me, it seemed like I was able to achieve, those, and it gave me hope, that I could get my singing voice back, and it was part of my rehab, and so I would probably pick, and the other would be Dolly Parton because she's my idol.
Dolly. I love Dolly.
Mhm.
So, I would say then I'll go out on a limb, you're more old country than new country.
I'm somewhere in between, but I love all the new stuff too. I love Taylor Swift and Ella Langley and, Lainey Wilson and, I like them all. I mean, I'm not really all that picky. I grew up on old school and,
Right.
and I love all that old school and I try to recreate some of that sound too myself, because I like it. But modern is also very important because I want to connect with fan bases at
Yeah.
all age groups.
I think one of the complaints that people have about the modern country today is it's more pop country than
And I
country.
have that, I definitely have that in my sound, and I think they classify me as country pop, and that's okay. I will always infuse I practice and, play around with some of the old country sounds, so some of my new albums may have, some retro sounds to it on purpose. I will
Yeah.
try to, have a mix, between, all of the groups, all of the timelines, because I think it can make, for a well-rounded album.
Yeah, I mean, and when I said pop country, that by no means was an insult.
Oh,
I mean,
no. Oh,
I get
no.
it, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you open yourself up to a whole 'nother audience too, and
Yeah.
that was quite evident when Beyoncé put out her country album.
Right. Yeah.
She saw there was money to be made there, and she put on a hat and some white chaps, and I mean, personally, I don't think that was considered to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's pop country. It had the country flair. Beyonce's always gonna be, Beyonce, and she, does a great job in her genre, but I think artists can cross over into other genres. I did a rock song, like an Evanescence rock song, and
Oh,
everybody said, "Oh my gosh, it was
I
so amazing."
wanna hear that. I
Well,
wanna
it
hear
wasn't mine. I did it for somebody who was really struggling, and, they sent it to me, and I said, "Let me." They didn't know about Suno or how to use Suno. I said, "Let me just show you." And, it was kind of a personal song to them, and even I couldn't believe it myself. He's been emailing me saying, "I just cannot believe how amazing
Mhm.
this sounds." And, so I might create one on my own just to say, "Hey, I've done that," but I did it, and it was very special to him. And I had no idea how good it was gonna come out, but it sounds there's like an Evanescence, kind of a
Yeah,
component to it, and it was fantastic. And I do like Evanescence, but I don't really like some of that rock, type as much. I'm not as big of a fan. It's not that I don't like it, I'm just not as big of a fan. But I surprised myself too,
that's
how I could
awesome.
go, and I've done some pop songs also. But like I said, I just feel like, and I'm very, specific about my identity so that it doesn't confuse others, that because I've seen a lot of AI artists do this too. They change that they're either they're a male and they're doing female sounds, or
Oh,
they're a female and
really?
they're doing male, and then they're switching between different genres. And I think that's confusing. And yes,
Yeah,
we all have the capability to do that in this digital age, but if you're trying to build a fan base and
right.
consistent one and be able to maximize that, especially if you're shooting for superstardom, you've gotta have an identity. You don't wanna be confusing people.
Yeah. I want you to walk me through your songwriting process because I'm always interested when I talk to creators that way.
Yeah.
Does the melody come first? Do the lyrics come first? What is
It's
your
all the above. So, sometimes I just start hearing lyrics in my head, and if I'm near my phone, I just grab that and I start, putting them into my notes app. If I'm driving, I may record a message, for myself. I'll just kind of make notes about what I, wanna remember to come back and write. But when I open up the notes app, I either already have the rhymes going with the lyrics and the structure, or I just have the story. And then I start to craft it and mold it. And I call it marinating and baking because the marinating is just when I'm throwing it in there and there's no real structure to it.
Right.
And then I start to get the structure to it and it starts to bake. And then when I'm ready to put the cake in the oven, that's when I put it over into Suno with my crafted lyrics. Occasionally I might go out to a chat GPT or Copilot and, try to improve upon it, but I don't always do that. I occasionally ask Suno. I'm never really all that happy with their lyric generation. So I rarely ever, ever, ever do that. So they're mostly all me, and a little bit of co-collaboration, if you will, with AI. And then I'm thinking about what do I want, the music to be. Do I want it fast? Do I want it slow? Do I want a banjo? Do I want a flute, a harmonica, a tambourine, drum, steel guitar, acoustic guitar? I do a lot of experimenting with instruments because I want to mix it up and I want to give different musical experiences for my audience and surprise them at times. And so that's really my process. And then I go from generating the songs and I'll pick a few that I really like. And then I take a break from it. I come back and listen. I'm like, no, I don't like that. And then I might go listen to them in my car because they sound better in your car. You got
Mhm.
now a real radio type of experience. So I'll do that. And then if I struggle to pick any one song or I really want to know if what I'm hearing is good, then I might be talking to a friend and say, hey, I sent you a song. Listen to it. Tell me what you think. Or if I'm on FaceTime with them, I try to see their reaction because you can see when
Mm.
somebody's connecting to a song. And that's really important to me as an artist that I know that I'm striking that chord, that I'm touching their emotion in some way or another, whether they're bobbing their head or they're crying or whatever it is, that sentiment that they are experiencing, then you know that that music is connecting.
That's awesome that you have friends or family members that you can bounce stuff off of, because I think that's important. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of my friends and family think I'm nuts. I'm sitting here in my basement with this podcast, and, I have they don't just roll their eyes a lot.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You can imagine what people are thinking of me. I walked out of another life and just didn't go back to it. And, I started this one like a rebirth in some way.
Mhm.
And I know everyone's looking at me like she had some kind of midlife crisis or something, but that's not what happened. I just realized that I wasn't following my dreams, and I didn't feel like I could go back to the past life, that I had, and I felt like I needed to reinvent myself. Did I think this was gonna be it? Absolutely not. This happened by
Right.
accident. But nothing really is by accident. I think this was the path I was meant to be on, just not the years ago I thought it was, but it is
Right.
now. And I don't know how far I will get, but I am absolutely going to go as far as I can. I'm not going to do stupid things like run out of money. I know that I've got a threshold and I'm dangerously close to that threshold, which is why now I'm looking to go back to a day job and I can do concerts on the weekends and
Right.
I can write music anytime I want. And it's not that I'm converting it back to a hobby, but I have to be realistic if I don't get a record deal that I don't want to also eat up all my retirement money.
Yeah,
So,
no.
I have to think about the longevity of my life as well, especially now that I've got the second chance and they, were able to, restore my heart to its functioning capacity.
Right.
Um, I gotta think about the future as well, but I'm not giving up on the dream. I may have to slow it down or, convert it more back to a hobby and I can get a real job. But I hope, if any record label executives are listening, I could sure use a hand, because I think I have very promising future, with this. I think when you get 4 charted songs in a charted album and you're only 8 months old, it might be saying something.
No,
You
I
know,
agree with you.
means
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
agree. Do you ever think of just about and, you listen, I'm not in the music business, but, like, just flooding the market, sending your tapes and stuff everywhere? Like, do you think that has any value to that, or you think people just pick it up and just toss it away?
I don't know. I put myself out there. I'm trying to build a fan base first because I think you gotta build credibility, with these music industry,
Yeah,
record labels, and I understand that. If you're a nobody, why are they even picking you up? So I will say this, my work ethic, did not change in my new life, and, I get up every day and I'm hustling, Every day, I'm what I'll call beating the streets in the social media space, but it's not just there. I'm looking for people who can help me. Who can I get into? What next venue can I get? Can I find somebody who can help me get, more promotions? I don't stop. I never stop trying.
Right.
And that is flooding the market. People tell me, "Oh my gosh, I see you everywhere." And so for the first time ever, somebody recognized me. They asked me.
Really?
Yes, in Virginia Beach, they asked if I was the country artist that was performing, that week, and so that blew me away, and then the whole store got to know who I was, and that was huge. That was for the first time. I've never gone out in public and people know who I was, but for the first time, somebody said, "You look like the girl. Are you the country music artist?" And I did a lot of flooding and promotions in Virginia Beach, and so it touched somebody, one person who
Right.
recognized me. That
That
was
had to
huge.
feel cool.
It
I mean, that had to
was.
feel yeah.
Yep. Yep, but I got a lot of fans left to go to build up that capacity, but I never stopped trying.
I listen, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm a fan of the brief time that I've been listening to your stuff, so and I feel the emotion when you're saying what you're saying. I hope it works out for you.
Thank you.
How much of Ava is actually you?
All of it.
All of it, baby. I like that answer.
All of it. Yeah.
So there's no difference between the real you and Ava at all. I
No,
like that. I like that a lot.
no. The only difference is, obviously, I create a digital twin that does some work for me, but the rest is on me.
Yeah,
Everything.
I think listen, you're again, I'm a hobbyist in the AI world, especially the AI music, and you are the most authentic AI creator that I've come across because, every most people just turn out a lot of stuff and they're on Twitch
Mm,
streams and they wanna get their stuff played and but I mean, you're sort of a hybrid, but I would say you're 80% real and
mm.
20%. Is that a good
Yeah.
comparison percentage-wise?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm trying to bring in more authenticity and realness, and I'm also trying to, replicate what a major label would do in releases. Not completely because, I don't have a way for people to pre-save my stuff and pre-purchase my stuff. I don't know how that works yet. But I'm doing the best I can, and I'm doing waterfall releases, and,
Right.
they would want me to do it longer, and I understand why, but I really want my next album out. Now I will do it a little differently with the one that follows it. But because I'm starting to tour and do shows, the to me, the Sassitude album, it's got that sassiness and really is the best with all my vocals on it. It's much more authentically me. So therefore, it's more important that I get that album released. So I'm doing the next release on August the 7th, Daddy Issues, and that'll be the last one before the album comes on September 4th. And I realize I'm not giving it enough time, but, I feel like this is where I am in the next juncture, and if a record label could come along and help me, then we'll do things differently. We might even release
Yeah.
new singles off that album, but I just don't have enough knowledge to do everything that they would. I'm trying to replicate what I can, learn what I can, and do it the best way that I can with what I
Yeah,
have.
I think record companies also look at it nowadays because streaming is such a big and likes and hits and
Yeah,
Instagram followers, I'm gonna make a comparison to the movie industry. That movie Backrooms that did very well just recently was
mhm.
a TikTok thing
Yeah,
or a YouTube show. I mean, and it had
right.
so many followers and they threw some money at it and now they're making a sequel with a big budget. I mean, it
Yeah, so you never know. You never know. And that's all you could best you can hope for is that somebody finally picks up on it that, and I do the video releases. I'm gonna start doing some more live stuff to connect with fans too, trying to find more venues to go and perform and, you know, be able to meet and greet with fans. So I think you can only do the best you can do and trying to learn and replicate where some of the big labels go can only help you. It can't hurt you.
do you ever think of, just I get and it's hard to do because you have a real not I wanna say real life, but, actual life, like, go to just hang out in Nashville for a month. I don't know, like, it
I thought about that, but there's a lot of traditionalists there. I think I'm better to go to Las
oh,
Vegas, and try to
mm,
pick up and do some shows there, and that's something I'm really considering. But, it wouldn't hurt to go to Nashville either and just learn and explore, and I think there's some merit to that too, so it's not off the table.
Yeah, because I was down there on business, and I found it a little repetitious, but that's just me. It's bar, boot store, hat store, and then another bar. And
Mm,
every store says we have original stuff, but then the next store has the same stuff, and but there are people singing in every place, and, I mean, it's
yeah,
just wall to wall stuff, so
right.
hard to stand out there too. I wish I
Yeah,
had the answers, Ava.
I know, me too, but every day I learn something new, and that's really important, and, like I said, I wake up every day hustling, not 5 days a week, 7 days a week.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself excelling at this. I could be running an AI record label. Potentially, I've got one already that I've co-founded with my promoter, and I could still be on tour and performing. I could see my also having a large scale business. I feel like Ava Bently is a $1 billion enterprise, and if I can master it in the right way, I could see myself achieving great success. But that's only going to come with the hustle of this, standing out amongst the crowd, and just being very determined to make it.
I mean, I'm even frustrated for you because I think you do stand out. I think you're not the norm, so, I'm frustrated for you.
Yeah, and it takes time, and in the grand scheme of things, I'm 8 months old, in this business, I'm
Right.
8 months old. So that's
Yeah.
still pretty new, and I gotta tell you, I've conquered some pretty amazing stuff in 8 months. So I'm very proud of what I did. If it all stopped now, I charted 4 songs and an album, and
Ah,
been on the cover of magazines, I've been in Rolling Stone magazine, I've got TV shows. I think I did pretty good.
no, you should be very proud of yourself. Ava, I wanna thank you for doing take 2 of this.
My
I
pleasure.
guarantee you if this happened another time with another guest, I probably would not have gotten a second chance. They just probably would have blown me off. So I
Oh,
appreciate it immensely. I wish you the best of luck.
thank you.
I'm a fan. I'm a new fan. So you can count on my likes and my streams and all that stuff. Do you have a merch store?
You can go to my website and get things. I haven't I do have merchandise when I go to my shows, but you can definitely download my songs, there. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up, I can sell it to you at a bargain price. Um,
I will
but
pay full price, Ava. Don't give me a bargain.
but I do have some merchandise.
All right, and tell everybody what you got coming up. I know you threw out a date for the next album, September. What else you got going on?
Yeah, so August the 7th, Daddy Issues, from my Saskatoon album will be out. And then on September 4th, I'm planning to release the Saskatoon album. I don't have my next show booked yet for public. I've got some private shows booked, that people, asked me if I would do. So I've got those, but I am in talks to do 8 shows in Las Vegas. We're trying to get a venue for that, and some international shows in the Philippines, London, and Paris.
Wow.
So we're working on that, and a few other things that we're just trying to get sorted out. But I'm really focused on getting a concert promoter and a stage manager next, to help me get better on stage, and, maybe possibly get in with some other acts where it's not just me. So if anybody's listening out there that has the expertise in the country genre, to help me get connected, please, by all means, reach out to me. But otherwise, Ava plans to be any and everywhere that she can be to keep growing and building a fan base.
Thanks again for being here, Ava. I appreciate it. Thank you for the second chance. Best of luck with everything in the future. I'll be picking up the new album on September 4th. You can bet on it.
Great. Thank you so much for
All
having me
right.
on the show
Talk to you
twice.
later.
Thanks for having me on the show, Dick.
My pleasure, Ava. Let's get into one of your new tracks now.
Hey, Ella, you forgot something. Yes, he chose Texas, but I'd just as soon send him back to Tennessee. Had my time with him, but it's clear this isn't meant to be. Thought we had a spark, but it flickered out too soon. Now I'm moving on under this Texas moon. He might be choosing Texas, but I'd rather set him free. Send him right back to Tennessee. No more late night talks, no more dreams of him and me. I'm reclaiming my heart, going back to what's true. He can roam the plains, but I am just fine, sending him straight back to you. He's living high on Texas pride, thinking he's the best, but I won't lose my way in this emotional mess. Had our laughs and our fights, but we just can't get it right. As I sit here sipping Crown at the bar tonight, I see the light now, and it's time to break free. He belongs with you, not me, and it's time I send him back to your arms where he is meant to be. He might be choosing Texas, but I'd rather set him free. Send him right back to Tennessee. No more late night talks, no more dreams of him and me. I'm reclaiming my heart, going back to what's true. He can roam the plains, but I am just fine, sending him straight back to you. Here's my goodbye and my gift to you. With these Texas skies above me, I'm finally moving on. He can chase those stars and two-step back to you, sending him back to Tennessee. Under the same old moon, he might be choosing Texas, but I'd rather set him free. Send him right back to Tennessee. No more late night talks, no more dreams of him and me. I'm reclaiming my heart, going back to what's true. He can roam the plains, but I am just fine, sending him straight back to you. Yeah. Sending him right back to Tennessee. Hey, LA's all yours.